Today on the podcast, I'm so excited to have a very special guest, someone that I've had many, many conversations with, but I guess this would be the first recorded conversation. Leah, it's good to have you.
It's good to be here. Yes, first recorded conversation as far as you know. Maybe I've been recording conversations this whole time.
Yeah, maybe you have been recording our conversation. I'm going to have to ask you next time. It's so good to see you. And just to have you on the podcast in this context, we've we've gone through so much together, and I just think that you have so much to offer as far as your journey of healing from the inside out, literally in so many ways. So before we dive in to who you are and your story, can you just tell us a little bit about who you are and just kind of give, for people who don't know you, a little bit of a summary?
It's always, I don't know why that's always such a hard question. I think it's because most people go into like what they do for work. And then I'm like, but is that the most important thing about me? So I'm going to start by saying I'm an aunt because that's my favorite thing about me. I am an aunt, I'm a friend, a daughter, all the things in that way. But I'm a full-time photographer, but I am also a content creator. I share online about my health journey over the last almost 3.5 years. I have lost over 200 pounds, and it has been very important to me to get healthy from the inside out. And by inside, I don't just mean like metabolism, hormone health. I mean mind, heart, spirit, like truly all encompassing health all around. So I have been on that journey for a little while now, and I started sharing about it online to be able to help other people know that what's possible for me is possible for them too. And it has been unexpected to see how that's grown and transformed and everything, but I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to do things like this, to share about it, and just to spread this message of hope with other people.
Yeah, and that's where I think you and I are similar. I always say the message of hope and healing. And I think that's exactly in line with what you're doing and what you've been doing even before you were a public account, a public figure. I mean, so why don't you tell everyone a little bit of our history together just up front so they know what they're getting themselves into?
Yes. I mean, I think the story of how we started working together is really cool. Like I love to tell people about it. I don't even know if you remember, but I had wanted to work with you for a while, but you'd never had openings. And then I was like, I had started my health journey. I was like a few months into my health journey, and I was like, I need to counseling or therapy needs to be a part of this journey so that I can be as healthy as possible in every way. And so I was like, all right, before I hire someone else, I'm just gonna check Deborah's website one more time. I checked it. There was one spot open. I booked it. I filled out the intake form, and then I got an email from your assistant that was like, oh, that was a glitch. I was like, oh,
Ah, I have
cool.
a vague memory of this. That's
Um,
so sad.
Yeah, I know, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's this spot. But then I got another email saying that you looked through my intake form and you prayed about it and you wanted to open up a spot for me. And so we have been working together for, I think in November this year, it will be 3 years. So
Wow.
for most of I started my health journey in March 2022, and then we started working together in November 2022. Um,
Wow. That's amazing. It was the same year that you started your health journey.
Yes, yeah. The same, because
Wow.
I like when I say I wanted to become healthy from the inside, like I hired someone to figure out my financial situation. I had never in my life budgeted anything. Like I'm saying every area of health, physical, mental, emotional, relational, financial, spiritual. Like I was like, I'm doing this. I'm gonna
Wow.
going all in.
That's amazing. It's funny because I just feel like there's times like that when the Holy Spirit says, do this, you know? And looking back, now that I have been with you on this journey and have seen what God had planned for your life, it just makes so much sense. Like at the time, you don't see the big picture. you feel the Holy Spirit prompting you to do something, or, even something small like having a new client. But it just makes so much sense to see what God was preparing you for. So I knew you before you were on Instagram as in the way that you are today. What's your Instagram account called?
Leah Hope Health.
And you started that probably like a year or 2 years maybe after we had been meeting, a year and a half.
No, it was a little sooner. So it was a year after I started my health journey. So it was March 20 or April 2023 was when I
Got it.
started my Instagram account specifically to share about my health journey. Yeah.
And
So
within no time, it had grown. I mean, you're nearing 1 million followers soon. Like you're probably by the end of the year, you'll be there.
which is just so weird. Like I just can't even the fact that the millions of people have seen some of my videos. Sometimes I just think about it and I'm like, that's absolutely terrifying. That many people even know that I exist. I'm like, I don't know. Do I like this?
Yeah.
It's
But
odd.
but people are resonating with your journey, and I think there's a few reasons for it. I think you have remained authentically you, and authentically kind, and modest, and you've just upheld integrity in who you are and in your representation of your relationship with Jesus, and your focus on healing holistically all the different parts, not just weight loss, but healing my mind, my spirit, my emotions, mental, emotional, relational, spiritual health, and physical health. And I think that is special and unique and something that people need to hear more of. So I'm not surprised that God has used it in the way that he has. And I think it's only just the beginning, because when you find a roadmap to healing, you offer it to others. That's the kindest thing that you can do when you find the roadmap to healing. And honestly, I feel that way about my own writing. Is the reason I'm okay to put it out there is because I have found the roadmap to healing and I want to share it with others. When you think of it that way, rather than, oh, I'm just marketing myself and I'm just putting myself out there, it just feels so much more significant. And that's really what it is.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for those kind words. Obviously, it means a lot to me coming from you because you see all of it more than everyone else sees too.
I see the good, bad, the ugly.
Yes. So that means a lot to me. But yes, I agree. I didn't start the account. I had zero plans to make money. Like in my head, I was like, this is a little side project that I'm just starting. And then it does feel like I'm doing a disservice to people if I don't share this. Like if I don't share what has worked for me and what I think could be helpful and transforming and life-changing to other people, like it would be a disservice to not put that out there and just offer that to people.
Yeah. So now that people know who you are and kind of know the background story, let's back up a little bit. Let's talk about, tell me again, how much weight have you lost to date?
215 pounds.
215 pounds. I mean, that is probably more than you currently weigh.
Yeah, so I've lost more than half of me. Yeah.
You've lost an entire Leah.
Yeah.
And we say that so casually, but the work, the discipline, the consistency involved in that, number one, but backing up the habits and patterns that got you there to begin with. So that's where I want to start. I want to back up to your journey with your body, your journey with food, your relationship with food. And I want you to kind of start me at the beginning. When do you feel like you first even realized that this was a problem? When were your eyes open to, I wonder if there's something going on in this area of my life that's not healthy?
Yeah. I feel like there's a difference between when I realized that I was different in this way than other people, or that it was something noticeable, as opposed to when I really realized this is a problem. Because I would say, like, the first time I was called chubby was I was 9 in 3rd grade, and I was called some names throughout that age, like elementary school and junior high and everything. And so I was aware that I was chubbier than the other kids. I look back at photos now and I'm like, to me, I just look like a quote normal child. A doctor would have said that I was overweight, but not to the extreme where you look at someone and you're like, wow, that person is really struggling, or that child is really struggling. It wasn't to that extent. Um, and then I just continued to gain from there, but it really probably wasn't until late 20s, almost 400 pounds, to where I was like, this is a problem. And I
Yeah.
saw it in my journal entries. Like, I had always knew it was a problem, but I didn't let myself mentally accept that until like my late 20s, because I just tried to neglect it and avoid thinking about it for as much as possible. Even though, like, I had tried dieting throughout most of my life, it wasn't like I was completely unaware or completely neglecting it, but I did just try to pretend like it didn't exist. And it wasn't until late 20s that I go back to my journal entries and I'm writing in that, like, I'm scared for my health. Like, I'm scared that I'm not going to wake up tomorrow. I'm scared that, like, I won't be able to get up from the ground and things. And once I started seeing the extremes of that, that was when I was like, this is a really big problem. I'm only progressively getting worse in this way. Like, I'm continuously gaining weight, continuously getting unhealthier, and I have to do something about it.
Mm. And even then, that wasn't even the start of the actual healing journey. That was just the start of the realization that this is a real problem.
Yeah. So it was the start of me realizing, when I do this, like, this has to be real. This has to be lasting, because I had tried diets, and diets don't work for me, because mentally you're thinking of it as a temporary thing. You have a start date and an end date.
Yeah.
I had to get to the place where I'm like, if I start this time, there is no end date. If I truly want to have a lasting change, if I want to change my lifestyle, if I want to have the future that I imagine for myself, there is no end date. So I feel like, honestly, it took me years of just, like, sometimes reminding myself of that idea, to kind of mentally prepare for, like, all right, next time I do this, this is forever, which is
Yeah.
to think like I am changing my life forever. And so I put it off for even longer, because I knew, like, when I do this, it's going to be forever. So I kept putting it off. And that's also why people put off diets, because they're like, I don't like diets that are hard and restrictive, because they're like, when I start this is going to be so hard. So I'm going to keep putting it off, and I'm going to eat as much food as I can before the diet. And so there's a lot of mindset shifts that are needed to approach a healthier day-to-day lifestyle and habits. But yes, so it wasn't until March of 2022 when I went to Disneyland with my sister's family and my nephew. I had one nephew at the time. Now I have two, but he was 3. He's my little best friend, and I was almost 400 pounds at the time. And I knew it was going to be a difficult day. I had never been to a theme park at that size before, but I like journaled about it the night before, and I said, like, this is going to be hard, but I don't want to miss out on this experience with him. Like, I want to be at Disneyland with him. And it was just a much harder day than I expected it to be. And I got a migraine, and my feet hurt and my back hurt, and I was profusely sweating. And I ended up spending half of the day just by myself, sitting on benches and tables, while they were riding the rides, because even standing in line was too difficult for me. And it, like, after that day, um, I knew that I had to make a change. I think that was the first time where I really saw that my weight, my unhealthiness affected someone besides me.
Yeah.
For my whole life, I could tell myself, this only affects me. Like if someone was like, let's go do this hike, I wouldn't stop them from doing it. I'd just say, you go without me. Like, so I would just tell myself all the time, this isn't affecting anyone else except me. This is my problem. So I can decide when to deal with it. But then I was like, he got less of a present aunt with him, which, like I said at the beginning, like being an aunt is my favorite thing to be right now, because of how unhealthy I was. And I was like, I I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was your moment. And it's a really significant point in your life. It's a significant point in your timeline journey. When we go back to that first stage, what was it about your life that made you susceptible to having an unhealthy relationship with food? What do you think it was when you look back at why you ate and what you used food for, right? Food is meant to be nourishing to our bodies. It's meant to fuel our bodies. It's such a gift from God. But just like anything, it can be used in unhealthy ways as well. So, what was it for you as you look back that really caused those unhealthy cycles?
Yeah. I think from a young age, and this is like the way that my mom tells me, that they noticed I started slowly gaining weight around 6 or 7 years old, when my brother was born. So I was the baby for 6 years, and then my brother was born, and I loved him. Like I was obsessed with him, loved him so. It had nothing to do with not loving him, but then I wasn't the baby anymore. I didn't get all the attention. And so that's when it like slowly started, when I was then within a few years called chubby. Um, it honestly, I don't really remember like at that young of age how I felt
Yeah.
when eating or about food, but I feel like in high school age, I know that it was about control, because it was like once I could start driving, when I turned 16 and I could start driving, that I gained 100 pounds in high school after that, after I started driving, because I could drive through fast food whenever I wanted. I could stop at the convenience store and pick up junk food whenever I wanted. And I just loved the control of that. I was like, I can do this if I want. I can buy this if I want. I can eat this if I want. And I'm sure that comes from being raised in a household where I didn't get to control. I mean, no child gets to control their household and their parents and all the things around them. But there were some things that were difficult for me to go through as a child and as a teenager. And it did feel very out of control. And so I held on to that of like, at least I can control this, and I have this, and I can decide when to eat this or when not to eat this, or when to exercise or when not to exercise. And I it's funny because I never thought of myself as an emotional eater. I feel like I just thought of it as like a habit, like, oh, it just became a bad habit. Like I just really like food, and I specifically like fast food and food that isn't the best for you. And so now it's just my habit. And even like at the start of my health journey, like trying to do all the mental mindset shift work, I still was like, yeah, I'm not an emotional eater. And then there was somewhere along the way where I realized, because I don't spend a lot of time, like I'm not sad a lot. I don't experience an intense sadness or depression or anger and then turn towards food. So that's how I thought of emotional eating.
Yeah.
And somewhere on my health journey, I was like, oh, joy is an emotion too.
Right.
And happiness is an emotion. And that's what I got from food. Like, oh my gosh.
Security, feeling the
Yes.
feeling of
Yeah.
security, the feeling of, like you said, having control and power gives someone a false sense of security, which is an emotion, and joy and satisfaction.
I do think that security piece, it's like with so much that can be unpredictable in life, it's like food is always there for me. Like there is always a fast food restaurant open. There is always a gas station open where I can go. Like if I need it, it is there for me no matter who else didn't show up for me or what happened to me during that day. Food is there for me, which is why we then call it comfort food sometimes. Like it is
Yeah.
comforting. And I got so much joy from it. Like I would the day before, like the day before the next day, I would just be thinking like, I'm going to go through Starbucks and get this for for my breakfast. And then I'm going to go to this place for lunch. And then I'm going to have this, like, that was, that was like what I looked forward to.
Yeah.
Um, it was interesting to shift that and find new things to look forward to. And I do still look forward to food as well sometimes.
Right.
I don't think
Right.
there's anything wrong with that, but it was too much.
Right. And I think that's the key here. It's getting more satisfaction, security, and joy from food than it was ever meant to bring.
Yeah.
Just like we can do with relationships. We can put so much expectation. Like that is the reward, and it's going to make me feel secure and loved and purposeful. Relationships are great, they're a gift from God, but they were never meant to do what they cannot do. And it's the same with food. It's never meant to give us this level of comfort and joy and security that it cannot bring us. Sure, we can get a little bit of joy from it, like everybody loves a good meal and looks forward to certain things, but when that scale tips in the direction of unhealthy is when we are looking for it to do something that it absolutely cannot do for us. And not only that, it becomes the main focus rather than all of the other joys. Like we're supposed to balance life out with the joy of nature, the joy of relationships with others, the joy of moving our bodies, the joy of rest, the joy of play, all these other joys that God has given us. But when we kind of block out those other joys and our main joy is X, Y, or Z, we start building a codependent relationship with that thing or that human or that hobby, whatever it is. Like you can overdo anything.
Yeah. And I
And
think
that's
it's,
what it sounds like it was for you.
yeah, absolutely. And I think it's so easy to like consciously you can understand like, oh, this is just providing me temporary comfort. Like, and then I'll have to go back to it again to get another hit of comfort or relief or a false sense of peace or whatever it is. And so that's what keeps us stuck in that cycle is that it's like for a moment, I am getting what I need or what I think I need. You're not really getting what you need because it's not a lasting effect, but for a moment, it feels like this is what I wanted to feel. And this helped me feel this way. And
Yeah.
so then you just stay stuck in that cycle.
Yeah. Tell me about, when you think about embarrassing moments, as far as like how much food was a joy for you and a comfort. Does anything come to mind? Like you talk about driving to fast food and kind of planning out your day around food. But does anything specific come to mind? Like you can give us like a glimpse into a moment that as you look back, you were like, wow, I was really getting way too much from food.
Yeah. I don't know that I would say like a specific moment, but it was definitely something that I turned to it so much that I did feel the need to hide it from other people in my life. Like I would pick up fast food and put it in a Trader Joe's bag. So when I walked in the house, it looked like I went to Trader Joe's. I don't think I wouldn't outright lie and say I went to Trader Joe's, but just so that no one would see that I had fast food or like I grew up babysitting and nannying and I would raid their pantries and eat their cookies or their candy and then hide the trash under other trash. Like little things like that that became so normal to me. But then looking back, it's like, oh, that's not healthy. That's not,
Yeah.
that's not
Yeah.
normal in that sense. But and I was pretty good at it to the point where I even remember having one conversation with my brother-in-law. We were talking about, like, the family was talking about addiction, and I said, "Well, I'm addicted to food." And this I never brought up my weight, my size. I did not bring it up unless I was like starting a new diet and thought I needed help. Otherwise, I did not talk about it. I, like, even with my family, my closest friends, I pretended like it didn't exist. I pretended like they couldn't tell and I didn't know about it. So even me saying something like that out loud, like, I think I remember I, like, even said it with like a shaky voice, starting to tear up. And I said, like, but I have a food addiction. And my brother-in-law was like, I don't think you have a food addiction, because so much of it was done in private. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think my family really ever saw me overeat. It, like, at restaurants when we're together, it's not like I was like, oh, another plate. I'll have three of this dessert. No, like, it was pretty much done in private, to the point where people in my life wouldn't have, without seeing my size, they wouldn't have been like, oh, she has a problem.
Yeah. And I think there's something really significant to be said of that when the habit and behavior starts to creep into your life in moments of isolation, when nobody's looking, when nobody's watching, and nobody's aware of it but you. That's when you really need to take a second look at whatever it is you're doing, because that's usually an indicator that you start doing that behavior in isolation. What did you feel about your body at the time? Like as you're living your life, seeing yourself in the mirror, getting ready in the morning, what was your general attitude and feeling about your body?
I really would say, for the most part, I didn't think about it. Like,
So
when
you
I
blocked
say,
it out, you
yeah,
avoided
when
it.
I say I avoid, like, I don't think I ever looked, I don't think I ever looked in the mirror and said, like, I hate my body or anything. Like, I knew it was what it was, but I just didn't spend time thinking about it. Like, I would try on outfits and be like, oh, I don't like how this looks, or this makes me look even bigger. Um, but I think I was just so disconnected from my body too. So not only was I mentally trying to avoid thinking about it, but I was disconnected. Like, it's still something that I'm actively working on. Like, when I go and do strength training, and my trainer will say, like, you should be feeling it in this area and you should be breathing like this. And I'm like, I can only think about one thing at a time. Like, I can't connect to that many areas of my body. Like, tell me what one thing I'm supposed to be focusing on, and that's all that I can do. Or, like, if someone asks me, I just, like, did this, like, liver detox recently, and the person I was doing it with, she was like, how's it making you feel? I was like, I think I feel the same. Like, I still struggle to, like, connect to my body and really feel different things within it. It's something I'm still working on. So even back then, I was so disconnected from it.
Yeah. So even when you were at 400 pounds, you weren't looking at your body and saying negative things. You were more just not thinking about it, trying to avoid it completely, trying not to allow yourself to have any emotional reaction to it. And in a way, blocking out thoughts, feelings, experiences that
Yeah.
were going to bring discomfort.
Yes. Yeah. And in this way, I think I do try to be relatable sharing online, but not like try to be, like, I just share my genuine, authentic story and experience. However, in this case, the specific way, I do think I'm slightly unrelatable in that I didn't really have negative self-talk. Like, even if I went and picked up this food and knew that I ate too much, Like I was like, oh well, it's already over. Like I wasn't like, why did you do that? You're such an idiot. Like
Yeah.
I haven't really struggled with negative self-talk. I didn't make myself feel guilty. If anything, I gave myself too much grace is
Yeah.
what I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you sense the theme of pain avoidance for you. Like, I don't want to think about the hard. I don't want to talk about the negative. I don't want to embrace the negative. I just want to think positive, be positive, seek joy, avoid pain. Do you feel like there was some sort of a pain avoidance with you, or was, maybe still is?
It's funny because like, I mean, I wouldn't call it that. I would call it being positive and optimistic and looking on the bright side. Um, but yes, I suppose you could call it pain avoidance.
Well, do you see that in other areas of your life? Like when there's something that's negative or not good or difficult that you've historically tried to kind of shift away from it versus embrace the pain and kind of work through it?
I do see that not as much recently. I feel like
I would agree with that.
I do try to be intentional about feeling all the things and actually working through it rather than avoiding it. But yeah, definitely before I would say it was more avoidance without me realizing, like with me just covering it up with stock quotes and positivity and
And Bible verses,
yes, yeah.
you know? And I say that as a believer who knows the power of God's word. But I also think we have to be careful not to tread in the waters of toxic optimism where we're avoiding facing the hard stuff, because the hard stuff is what strengthens us.
Yeah.
And I even look at, your family history, your childhood history, and I don't think we need to go into any of those details because a lot of people know about you, and your privacy is your family's privacy, your privacy. Like when you become a public figure, they don't get to choose what you talk about and don't talk about because they're part of your life. So out of respect, I don't want to go into details, but I do think, like you mentioned, all of us have pain in our past. All of us have stuff, dysfunction and struggles and whatever. Like we all have conflict, difficult experiences, big T trauma, little T trauma. And when you look back for you, I'm not surprised to see the theme of pain avoidance.
Hmm.
Like, let's look on the bright side. How can we make this day better? Like, what can we do to bring some fun into the day? Like, and those are the reasons that joy becomes such a reward. Like, I want to seek that because I don't want to think about this. I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to block this out and I'm going to go to this instead. And it's that same mindset with your body. I'm going to block this out, even though it's like staring you in the face that something's unhealthy here. I'm going to block that out and seek the good stuff instead. But it sounds like that day in Disney, like the pain just kind of hit you on every level, emotional pain that you were missing out with your nephew, mental pain that you didn't have the stamina to do what you wanted to do, actual physical pain that your body was in literal physical pain, like sweating and struggling and difficulty breathing. And it's like, wait a second, like the pain just hit all at once. But maybe it's that pain that allowed you to really shift. Maybe the avoidance of pain is what kept you stuck in those patterns for so long because it wasn't as painful as it needed to be for you to do something a little bit different.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's true. And I will say with how much I didn't have negative self-talk, that like so much to the point where I remember that day at Disneyland, like driving back to where we were staying that night. I think that was the first time that I ever, like, I was like, you are so stupid for thinking that
Hmm.
you could do that. And I'm not saying that's the key. I'm not saying the key is
I agree with you. That's
that,
not what
like,
we're saying.
no, but
It's
it
just
was
a
just
reflection that for the first
realizing,
time you were hit with pain
yes, yeah.
for the first time.
And that it was no longer possible to ignore. Like that's why I was like, you like I just felt so stupid for thinking that I could like get away with a day at Disneyland with all of this walking and activity. And so that it was just like, I can't ignore this anymore. Like it is no longer an option to
Yeah.
this and avoiding this.
Yeah. So that day at Disneyland, do you feel like after that, did you allow yourself to start feeling the pain and discomfort of your struggle, your lack of health, or did you then try to block it out some more for a little bit longer?
Maybe somewhere in the middle. I don't think that I tried to avoid it, but I did very actively work on the mindset piece of it all. So there's a lot of self-talk of like be not being positive for the sake of being positive, but like this is hard and so but this is gonna like give me a reward in the future. And so there was a lot of that, but I'm sure it was a process of a little bit still struggling with that and then trying to see everything for what it is and really confront everything
Hmm.
head on.
And, fast forward to today, I would say today you are the most pain tolerant that you have ever been to date
Yeah.
with emotional things, mental things, and physical things because it's painful to work out. It's painful to go through relationship things. It's painful to process and do the mental health work. But that pain leads to long-term healing and stability, just like the pain of the gym. you know there's good pain. There's pain that reminds you that you're strengthening, you're getting to the next level, and not just covering up the pain, but pushing through the pain so that you can be stronger, healthier, more whole. And I would definitely say that you're at a place that you're much more pain tolerant than ever before. Would you agree with that?
Yes, yeah, I would. And I think that it just takes the realization that the pain is coming either way. It's just a matter of if you are delaying it or if you are in control of confronting it and processing it. And I would rather do that.
Yeah. Yeah. The journey of healing is hard, but it's so much harder to live unhealed.
Yeah.
It's so much harder. It's such a bigger burden. Like if we could imagine you today still carrying the extra weight. And when I see somebody like you who's gone through a weight loss journey, a healing journey, there's something really symbolic about shedding the pounds, but also shedding the pain, shedding the trauma, shedding the dysfunctional mindset, shedding the unhealthy relationships. Like there's so much that you let go of along the journey of healing that's so much bigger than the weight. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. But I do think that was an intentional choice on my part. Like, I don't think that's a given. I don't think you lose weight and you get healthier in all these other areas. Like, I think You have to intentionally approach each area of health. And if you do that, then I do think that nurturing one area of health, whether it's your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, relational health, nurturing one area can help them all, the same that neglecting one area can hurt them all.
Yeah.
And once I realized that, that just made a really big impact for me, because I spent a lot of time pretending that I was healthy in every area except for my physical health. Like, I read these books and I journal and I do this self-reflection, and I thought, like, yeah, sure, I'm struggling with my physical health, but at least I'm healthy emotionally and mentally. And then it wasn't until I really intentionally confronted my physical health that I realized, oh, there's some more to work on here too. And I mean, there will be more to work on in every area of health forever. But I think just the reflection of that, of realizing they are all tied together, and that should be a comforting thing though, and an uplifting thing, like, because we do, having them all working together is absolutely positively going to impact our daily life and our future.
Yeah. So let's talk some practical things like where you are today and what on earth have you been doing? I know, practically you've been in counseling, you've worked on your health in many different areas, but what are some practical things that you have been doing to not seek food for your highest joy and comfort?
I mean, I guess it's what everyone would expect you to say, which is like that you have to find other things that bring you that joy and comfort. And that doesn't mean, like I said earlier, like, I do still get joy from food, but it's not my primary source of joy. It's not my only source of joy. I get so much joy from spending time with friends, spending time with my nephews, from physical activity, which I never thought, not all physical activity. I don't like strength training. I do it because it's good for me, not because I like it. But like hiking, I actually remember, so when I shared my first post online, like when I was like, okay, I'm making an account about this, it was terrifying because I spent my whole life pretending like it didn't exist. And now I was specifically bringing attention to the one area of my life that I avoided, that was the most vulnerable part of me, and it was terrifying. And, um, normally, I would have gone and, like, picked up my favorite meal somewhere, and just, like, that's how I would have processed, like, putting that out there. And that day, I went on the longest hike that I had ever been on.
Wow.
That's how I processed it. Like, I sent the post, and then I was like, "All right, I'm not checking it for hours." And I just went out and hiked. And it wasn't like, that wasn't like a form of punishment. I wasn't like, "Oh, you have to do that." Like, that's what I wanted to do. That I was like, "This is gonna be the best way to process this, and to just, like,
Hmm.
experience the feeling of it." And I never thought that would be me. Like, I when I started this health journey, I was like, "I'm gonna have to suffer through exercise for the rest of my life." And I just came to terms with that. Like, I was like, "That's just what I'm gonna have to do." Some people like exercise and I don't. And I'm just gonna have to suffer through it because it's good for me. But the more I explored different types of activity and movement, I found quite a few, like hiking. I love taking walks, like just like long walks, pickleball, swimming. Like, I found so many things that I actually want to do and enjoy doing. And I think people need to keep, if you haven't found a movement that you enjoy, then I would just encourage someone to keep trying more things until they find something. And it might still, like, I didn't like walking at the beginning. I didn't like walking around with my almost 400-pound body. It was hard and it was difficult. And I ended up feeling in pain after. But the more you do it, the easier it will get. And then you will grow an appreciation for it. And not only that, but you feel proud of yourself. And
Yeah.
that's a feeling that you can only get from doing something that's difficult and doing something that's hard. And that is the feeling, like, that's the feeling that has brought me the confidence that I have now. Like, I am so much more confident now. And it's not because I've lost 200 pounds. It's not because I'm in a smaller body. Like, of course, that does play a part in it. Like, I'm not totally naive to that, but I think that confidence comes from what you live like more than what you look like. And when
Yeah.
you walk around knowing I'm taking care of myself physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, like that's a confidence that can't be faked. And that feeling of just like being proud of how you show up for yourself is just, yeah, it's one of the best feelings.
It's amazing, even that story of your first post and dealing with the pain of this is hard. I'm putting myself out there. I'm facing the problem. And then afterwards, responding with consistency rather than comfort. Like you usually do the comfort thing. And now you're like, nope, I'm going to just be consistent on this health journey. I'm going to go for a hike, even though that might be uncomfortable,
Yeah.
but it's the consistent thing. It's the right thing. It's the healthy thing. I'm going to lean into consistency, not comfort. And man, if we could apply that to different parts of our life, being consistent in how we show up in relationships, being consistent in how we deal with our stress, being consistent in how we rest and recover. I mean, if we could apply that rather than what's the most comfortable thing to do in this moment, how do I remain consistent to my health journey, not just seek out comfort whenever I'm feeling a little bit of pain, a little bit of struggle? And I think that's the key. That is like the conceptualization of the shift that happened in you, that you no longer ran to the most comfortable thing.
Yeah. I do think consistency is key. And something that has helped me is being making decisions, being future minded as much as possible, because it's so easy to be like, oh, this is going to make me feel the best right now, but what will future me be thankful that I chose?
Yeah.
And then that will always leave you, that choice will always leave you feeling proud. And I'm not great, I don't do that all the time. I do better at that when it comes to food and activity, still working on that in other areas of my life, but I just think that reminder can make such a big difference, because we all, I mean, I think so. I think everyone like has a vision for their future, has goals and dreams and things that they want in their life. And when you realize, wow, the choices I am making today are bringing me nowhere closer to that, maybe only bringing me farther from that, that mental shift of like the choices I make today are going to impact whether or not I reach that vision for my future. I think that is very helpful.
So, how would you say you feel about your body these days?
I feel really good. I've been going through the process of getting my loose skin removed from my weight loss this year. And so I will say I'm feeling more comfortable and confident in my body than I ever have before. With that said, it takes time to shift how you view yourself in that way. I'm still not like, I will still describe myself as being bigger. And I still think I am. Like I am. I'm 5'6". I'm 182, 185 pounds, depending on the day or the time of the month. I wouldn't describe myself as thin or skinny. It doesn't matter. Like the specific words don't matter. I still feel like I'm thicker, and I'll use words like that sometimes, and people will be like, no, you're seeing it wrong. Or like, I'll go somewhere and look around the room and I'm like, I'm the biggest one here. Like, I still struggle with that mindset, because that's what I did before. I went every room I went into, I looked around and I was like, I'm the biggest one here. Everyone knows that I'm the biggest one here. And I still do that. Like, I went into a gym and I looked around and I was like, I'm the biggest one in this gym. And I said that to my friend who was there with me, and she was like, Leah, what are you talking about? No, you are not. And I was like, no, but I literally am. Like, I'm not saying that I'm like noticeably like, it's just, there's still so many things that are a struggle. Like, even with, I feel like I see myself as I am a lot most of the time, but then my mind does play tricks on me still. And so I just have to keep reminding myself what I've said from the beginning is it's not about chasing a smaller body, it's about living a bigger life. And I truly mean that. So even if I did look in the mirror and say, like, oh, I'm still bigger, or I'm still thicker, or if I went into a room and said, oh, I'm the biggest one in this room, it just doesn't matter because I'm healthy. I feel good. I'm actively working on all of the areas of my health. So it's not just the bigger body that makes you unhealthy. Like it's what you're actively doing, how you're approaching your life, what you're reflecting on. Like it's so much more than just the appearance of your body, whether you see it accurately reflected or not.
So, in some ways, you have more struggles with your physical body today than you did when you were 200 pounds heavier. And partly it's because you used to be such an avoider of,
Mhm.
I'm just going to block that out, not even think about it, not even acknowledge or address it. Now that you're becoming more pain tolerant, you've let that guard down more. The avoidance tactic is no longer an active part of your life. And so you're aware of what you look like, you're aware of what others look like. There's a little bit more to it now that probably makes it more of a struggle today than it was years ago. And I think we're kind of the idea here is, how do I face that and interpret it in healthy ways rather than just avoid it, ignore it, not think about it. So, like you said, those strategies of like, I want to live a full life. Like that's why I'm doing this and that's why I'm here. And it's not about my size, it's about my health. Like you're allowing yourself to hear and feel the painful thoughts and feelings and beliefs, and then sorting through them with truth
Yeah.
rather than avoiding them altogether. And
Yeah.
that's a very different thing. To me, that's not toxic optimism. It's truth telling.
Yeah.
It's not just, I'm just going to avoid this, make it go away as fast as possible, not think about it, tell myself something positive just to make the negative go away. No, I'm sitting here with this and I'm working through it and I'm figuring it out and I'm pulling truth from it and I'm saying no to the lies and I am reinterpreting it and I am doing it differently. And it makes sense that you would have a little bit more of a struggle today than you did when you were an avoider, right?
I would say that I am absolutely more critical of the appearance of my body now. Not when I think about what it can do, what it's capable of. I am not critical of that at all. Like I'm not like, oh, you should have tried hard. You should have ran faster. You should have lifted more. Not in that, but the appearance of it, I am more critical of it now than I was when I was 200 pounds heavier because I'm thinking about it more. I'm looking at it more. I'm sharing it online and other people are commenting on it and letting me know what they think about it. So yeah, that is definitely true. And it takes time. Like it's not, you can't just realize, oh wow, I'm being more critical of my body than I was before, so I'm gonna stop. Or like, oh, this is body dysmorphia. Like to look at myself and think that I'm so much bigger than I am, I have body dysmorphia. Oh, okay. Like now it's all changed because I realize it. Like, no, it still takes time. And I will occasionally share about that online that I struggle with that and that I'm working through the mindsets around that. And I'll receive comments saying, like, you should go to therapy. You really need to work on this. And I'm like, do you want the number of my counselor? Like, I have references. I I like try to actively work on it, but it's gonna take time. It's not an
Yeah.
overnight mindset shift.
Just like shedding the weight took time, Shedding the mental weight takes time too. And I think that's what people don't fully understand. It's like people believe mindset shifts should happen in an instant just because you know the right thing to do. But that's not how it works with any other part of our body. We know the right thing to do with eating, we know the right thing to do. That doesn't mean instantly overnight we are exactly what we want to be physically. And it's the same thing with the mental journey. It takes time to identify things and time for things to come up to the surface. And then you deal with one layer and then you invite another layer to come up for you to deal with. So the beauty of this journey, and I think some might not call this beauty, but I think it's beautiful, is the fact that God is always inviting us to the next layer of healing, the next layer and the next layer and the next layer. And He's trusting us with the journey of healing, even when it's hard, to lean into consistency, not comfort, because we are becoming the person that God intended for us to be. We're becoming healthy and healed and whole along the way. And like you said, we're living a fuller life because of it. And I've definitely seen that for you. Like 100,000%, you're living a fuller life in so many ways. And as you're still working on your body, you're still working on your mental health. You're still working on your emotional health. Like it's an unending journey, but the healthier you are, the fuller your life is as well. So it's exciting. I'm excited to see what God has for you. And just again, I always tell you, I think you shine such a light on social media, especially in a space that tends to be shame filled, dark, body focused. You shine such a holistic light on the subject. So keep on shining.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Where can people connect with you and, learn more about you and your journey?
Yes, I am at Leah Hope Health pretty much everywhere: Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the things. I have a website, leahhopehealth.com. Um, and I sell a natural weight loss guide there that has everything that has worked for me as a part of my journey. But I also share content online. Most of my content is about the mindset piece of it all, because I just really think that that's the most important part, because I think you can do the nutrition, you can do the fitness, but if you haven't worked on your mindset, then um, you might end up back
Yeah.
where beginning.
You will always default back to your belief systems. So the mindset part is key. So thank you, Leah, for sharing your story and for inviting me along on your journey, and also through this, inviting so many others along on the healing journey as well.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this.
Anytime.